You've probably clicked on this video because you are wondering what the hell is wrong with this $6,500 result. In this video, I want to be sharing with you why sometimes you are not safe even in a first world country like Germany with highest medical standards and also highly regulated hair transplant industry, even if a doctor does your procedure. Doctor who studied at Stanford University, great credentials, seem to be great doctor on surface, great marketing, and even very positive reviews. Despite all that, there are some things that are very wrong with this surgery, and I will share with you what are the problems and what will be the next best steps right now for this subscriber of mine to do to correct this. And at the end, I want to be sharing with you the number one thing you need to stop doing if you are getting your hair transplant in a first world country like United States, Europe, UK, Canada that is screwing up your results. So make sure you stay tuned, and as always, before we start, shout out to our sponsor GoFiber. These are hair building fibers you can use to mask any thinning or patchy areas on your scalp to make your hair look thicker and better. So make sure you check out the link in the video description below where you can visit GoFiber, get a free sample of your choice and try them out. See if you like them. Alright guys, let me give you a little bit of background of what my subscriber texted me a couple days ago. Unfortunately, he discovered my channel too late, started watching some of my videos after he had already done a hair transplant, and also didn't even discover my one-on-one service where I'm helping out guys with maximizing their hair transplant success and finding the best hair transplant clinic for them. If he had stumbled upon it earlier, I would have been definitely able to save him from spending $6,500 for this. He wanted to ask for advice and help if possible, and his question was mainly how many grafts were transplanted in my estimation, and wanted some help on that. The assistant first gave him a number of 1,700 transplanted grafts, and after a personal call to the doctor, 2,700 grafts were mentioned by him. The operation took 9 hours of work, mostly done by the German doctor himself. He was harvesting, and the lady in the back afterwards seeded the grafts. So he's asking, what do I think about the result, considering he spent 6,500 USD, which is not a small amount of money for him. Looking at this result, again, does not look as 2,700 grafts. After doing some counting, the way I like to do it in Photoshop, I was able to identify not even 1,400 grafts. So each color is represents about 400 grafts. Obviously, there are some minor mistakes in the calculations probably, but more or less each color is 400 grafts. So you can see 1,200 grafts marked with some unmarked grafts where I kind of stopped counting, but this looks no more than 150 grafts. So overall, it looks like about 1,400 grafts maximum. Now, the lying about the number of transplanted grafts, or the graft scam as I like to call it, is usually more common in black markets of like India or Turkey. Normally in the West, you don't see it as often, but you can be never safe, right? And you need to always look for some red flags that could lead up to graft scams, even in Western world. And I'm gonna be sharing with you what are those things later. So he's actually mentioning here that the doctor didn't state him the number of grafts. In Germany, any doctor I visited told me that the number can be not in detail evaluated in advance. So that's weird. A number of grafts that you are about to get for your transplantation can always be evaluated in advance. It's not going to be the perfect number that will probably happen during the surgery. It's going to be an evaluation. Normally it's like 90% accurate, sometimes 80%, sometimes 90%, but on average it's between 80 and 90% accurate, just based on bare estimation of your pictures and photos that you sent to the clinic. So that's very odd that no doctor he visited in Germany was able to share with him the number of grafts he should receive for the surgery. He trusted the clinic because the doctor was also rated in many business magazines as a top result. Another very concerning thing you can see, guys, here is how they kind of went out of the safe zone. You can see that the balding pattern of the patient resembles almost Norbert 7 on the back. So as you can see here, although the lateral humps are pretty preserved here, making him more like a Norwood 6 from the side perspective. From the back, he's looking already more like a Norwood 7. And what the doctor did, he extracted not a small amount of grafts from this very unsafe area that is already affected by thinning and miniaturization. Normally, if you have patients like that where the balding surface is obviously so large that you cannot cover it with any of the hair from the back or from the sides, you just tell the patient, don't get a surgery, I'm not going to accept you, I'm not recommending you to have the hair transplant. So that's what the doctor should have said to the patient. That's what I would have told this patient if he had contacted me and if he had asked for a one-on-one consultation with me. Looking at his donor from the sides, looking super sparse, as you can see here, and this is the area which hasn't been even affected by previous extraction. You can see how thin it is. So it's impossible to cover up such a balding surface, which again looks like Norwood 6 to Norwood 7 transition based on which area you kind of look at it. Big mistake from the doctor here and big failure not being able to communicate that he's not an ideal candidate and not being able to tell the patient like, hey, this is already something that will unlikely look good even if we transplant 2,000 grafts or even 2,500, which seems like was patient's donor area limitation. And he was also asking, what do I think he could have harvested more from the next surgery? In my estimation would be very low, probably less than 1,000 of grafts. And that brings me to that number one thing that you need to stop doing as soon as possible if you try to find a hair transplant clinic in the Western world, be it US, Canada, UK, Western Europe. So what the biggest mistake here is, and it's actually quite simple thing, but many guys don't quite think about it. Many guys try to find a hair transplant clinic very close to where they live. And that's everywhere, like in the West, like US, Canada, UK, or Europe. So they think it's like finding the great clinic, it's automatic as if they would be in the need of an electrician or a dentist and whatnot, but it's not. Great hair transplant clinics, talented hair transplant doctors are super rare and they're super scarce. So if you are living in a city, and this is a mistake I'm seeing with many of my clients who came to my consulting after having had 1 or 2 hair transplants already and they were not so successful, it's very frequent that I see this mistake. You live in a city that has maybe 50,000 people or 100,000 or something like Heidelberg, which is the city where my subscriber found his doctor. And this city is like 150, sub 200,000 population city. So these are small towns, small cities where it's very unlikely that a good hair transplant doctor will be in. Actually, if you ask me for where are the best hair transplant doctors in the world, if I think about where I'm recommending my clients to go to, what options I'm giving them, 80 to 90% of all the best hair transplant clinics I recommend worldwide are actually doctors based in the capital cities. So if you are in the US or Canada and you are just going to a small town, it's like a German version of Heidelberg, right? It's a beautiful city. Heidelberg, I have nothing against the city, but again, you get the point. Like if you go to these little small towns, no matter where you live, be careful guys, because this is not common that these good doctors are there, okay? Visiting a capital of your country or of your state, if you are in the US, it's already a good guarantee or gives you more likelihood of actually ending up and finding a good clinic or reliable doctor at least is not going to perform a hair transplant this way. So that's usually, and I traveled for all of my 3 hair transplants because I knew that in my country where I lived, it wasn't possible. Or it was possible, but the quality was super average. Now, for all of you guys who are interested in consulting your hair situation with me in person, check out the link in the video description below where you can learn more about my one-on-one consulting services related to hair loss, related to finding the best hair transplant clinic, help you overcome all the challenges with hair loss treatments, finding the best doctor, and giving you like a perfectly tailored advice to your own situation, to your hair properties, to your past history of having used certain types of treatments that probably didn't work for you, giving you better options, and all these things that will help you regain and retain your hair in the long run. So if you are interested, I will be more than happy to help you out in person. The same I have already helped my hundreds and hundreds of clients in the last 3 years And with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna be seeing you soon in another video. Take care.